this. All right. Welcome in week 5. Technical difficulties a little earlier on today, but we got it done. Cole is here live with us once again this week, feeling a little under the weather, but he's been chugging Dayquil and getting all that stuff figured out. Big week in college football. Week 4, tons of games to go over. Maryland, Michigan, that game was close. What are your takeaways from the close game up there in Ann Arbor? Michigan gets it done 34-27. Maryland gave them quite the fight.
It was a little closer than I expected. Maryland ended up putting up a lot of points and holding in versus the Wolverines there. So kudos to the Terrapins. But Michigan obviously got the job done. So good job, Michigan.
Yeah, I mean they took care of business. I mean, look, I really don't think they're deserving of that number 5 or 4 spot in the college football playoff when it's all said and done. But no stumbles so far, so you can't really fault them if you're ranking them and if you're a voter that does AP stuff. I mean, you're obviously not going to drop them because they're perfect on the season, but overall performance wise, I found it kind of mid. But I was more surprised at how good Maryland looked. I thought Tua Tagovailoa's little brother. Looked like he was a viable starter for a team that has like the pedigree of a Maryland. So I think that's the right takeaway. Is not impressed, but no reason to really bash Michigan. The big
Definitely.
game, kind of the big one everyone's talking about is Kansas State and OU. That game, Adrian Martinez looked like Michael Vick and Tom Brady just combined. The read option was killing OU's defense. The offense, had some lapses that were just kind of unacceptable. But really, I think you kind of have to hold this onto the defense, right? I mean, 34 points and over 500 yards of total offense. You can't blame Dylan Gabriel in the offense, can you?
I don't think so. I mean, that's it's a little embarrassing, honestly. I mean that the fact the fact that they couldn't get that shut down is a little embarrassing. I mean, I don't really know. Venables being the defensive mindset that he has, couldn't shut that read option down. Him breaking away for that many touchdowns. I don't know. I don't know what the Sooners were thinking at home. I know it's a tough loss. Obviously dropped to 18 after that. So, I mean, you can't take anything away from Martinez, though. He played a great game. Unbelievable. Like you were saying, Michael Vick, Tom Brady had a little baby. So, out there on Saturday night. So, good game.
Yeah, it was a good game. It was entertaining. Not the outcome you would hope for. I know that. But overall, I think this says a lot about the where OU is right now as a team, and I think that it was kind of a wake up call, and we'll see kind of how they respond going into next week, and we'll touch on that as we go through next week's games. USC played Oregon State. That was kind of the late night treat for everybody. USC gets it done 17-14. It was close the whole entire way through. Oregon State led for most of it, but in the end, it was Caleb Williams hooking up with Addison, the transfer from Clemson, on a deep ball, and he caught it. And when I say deep ball, it was like a 23-yard pass, but it was still on a go route down the far sideline. And so, I mean, it was a good catch. And Oregon State turns the ball over late to kind of end that one. And it was a good game for the Beavers, but I think in the end everyone will say the better team won this game. But I think it kind of exposed USC as like not as good as we think they are.
Yeah, definitely. We definitely projected USC to have more points there. I mean, we did say Oregon State was going to come in and play a good game, which they did. Defense is playing good, holding USC to 17. So the Beavers had a good little run. They're looking good over here. Should be maybe top 3 in the Pac-12 at the end of the season.
Yeah, I think that's definitely something that could definitely happen for the Beavers if they keep playing as good as they've played so far. Another good game in the afternoon, Tennessee and Florida. Tennessee beats Florida, and it's just a good win for Tennessee. I mean, this was one of those games where I kind of felt like it was do or die for Florida as far as like being ranked, and I think it's bye Gators, because I just don't think that they were as good as we thought they were after they beat Utah. I don't think Utah is as good as we thought they were going to be. So I think, as you said, like just by the transitive properties of the way Utah has kind of had their season go and the way Florida's kind of now dropped off a little bit, I think that you have to drop them out of the top 25, and I think they did that. We'll get into that here in a couple segments, but I mean, overall, I think it says more about Tennessee than it does Florida. And I think Tennessee could give an Alabama or a Georgia a decent game. What are your thoughts on where Tennessee is right now?
The Gator hater. No, I'm kidding.
I am, though. I'll
Tennessee.
take it.
Tennessee's looking pretty solid. I mean, I don't think they're a team that can go out and beat an Alabama or Georgia. I could see them being close with them. I mean, they're not playing bad. Definitely better than what we were used to seeing Tennessee at. Uh, One of the worst in the SEC. So I'm glad my Vols are doing better, and I think that has a lot to do with the head coach. With is it Josh Heupel, I
Yep.
believe. So
Mm-hmm.
a former Sooner. I think he's doing a great job out there, and he definitely has the offense clicking for sure. I think he definitely has the guys out there that need to be out there, and he's also getting the recruits as well. And the same with the defense. I mean, defense are also playing great, shutting Florida down to how much did they have? It was what was the
27.
score?
Yeah,
Yeah,
27-34, I think,
yeah,
Tennessee. Yeah.
not a bad not a bad game plan there, and definitely Josh Heupel had the cards for the Florida Gators. So that looks like they should have a good season and hopefully maybe be top of the SEC East, I believe.
Yeah, it could happen. It could happen.
Yeah.
And that's kind of, yeah, I kind of agree. I think that they're on a good warpath. It just depends on where Josh Heupel, and this team kind of, end up playing those tougher teams.
And my
Um,
man's getting paid.
hey,
My
he's
man
getting
is getting paid
getting
out there.
paid. He's getting paid. He's 100% getting paid.
He can definitely afford that Big Mac meal.
um, and then moving on to another game I thought that was kind of interesting. Obviously, I think it's interesting. It's my Oregon Ducks. Scoring 29 points in the fourth quarter to come back and beat Washington
Duckies.
State. I mean, the fans of Washington State were just distraught at the end of this one. A pick six by the quarterback on a screen pass kind of put that game away and solidified the victory for my Oregon Ducks. The score was 44-41. Wazoo did pack in a little short touchdown pass with 20 seconds to go to try to save that game for them. But it wasn't enough. They couldn't get the onside kick, and the Ducks kind of skate away with the win. But overall, I think it just, the fight of the Ducks kind of impressed me. They never gave up. They never gave in. Bo Nix never wasn't looking for the right guy. And for Washington State, you take it away and go, look, you had it. You had the game on a silver platter, and you blew it, which has kind of been the way this team has gone. I mean, Mike Leach is doing okay up there, but it's just, it just might not be enough. And I think that overall, Washington State probably in the middle of the Pac-12 is probably where they're going to probably end up. They definitely gave Oregon a good game,
Yeah.
but I really don't know how good my Ducks are. I think that they are kind of still a mystery, and I think that this weekend is going to kind of tell us a lot about where they're at. And we'll get into that as we look at next week's games. But I mean, as far as this last week, it was a good win. It was a good unwarranted win, and I'll take it. What were your takeaways from this game?
Man, 29 unanswered in the fourth quarter from your Ducks.
It's impressive, but it's
Wow.
more devastating if you're a Washington State fan. Like, how does that happen?
I mean, definitely, that just shows you that your Ducks can get it done. They can score come
Yeah.
late. So I mean, that's a really big advantage to be able to put the ball in the end zone like that late. I mean, there probably were a couple of turnovers in there, but still, I mean, that definitely gives your Ducks some hope for the season. I mean, and we are talking about Washington State, a mid team in that conference, so nothing too crazy. But wow, hey, I think you should like where the Ducks are heading there.
Yeah, I mean, it looked okay. I mean, we'll see how we do this weekend, and we'll get into that. But I mean, I'll take a win. A win is a win, and no one in college football is going to complain if their team ends up with a W. It may not be pretty, but you got to get those ugly wins if you're going to be anything of significance. And I think that was kind of what it was for my Ducks there. Moving on to another game that was really good, Texas Tech and Texas. So Texas Tech beats Texas down in Lubbock 37-34 in overtime. Bijan Robinson fumbles the football on Texas's first possession of overtime, and Texas Tech recovers. So, no scoring for Texas in that first overtime. All Texas Tech needed was a little chip shot field goal. They ran it down to like the 5-yard line and just kicked, a little 22-yarder and skirted away, tortillas flailing as the fans stormed the field down in one of the crappiest towns in Texas, Lubbock. Please come for me, Lubbock people. And and I think that it just kind of said more about Texas than it did about anybody else in this
Yeah.
game. I mean, Texas Tech is a mid team. They're going to be in the middle of the Big 12. I don't really see them being in the Big 12 championship discussion. They might be right now, but there's nothing that's going to convince me that they're not going to end up 5, 6, 7 in this conference at the end of the season. I just think that there are too many other teams that are not only better than Texas, but way better than Texas Tech talent wise. And I think that they might, beat a Kansas State, or they might beat, a Baylor. It could happen. Just the way those two teams have played up to this point, it's plausible right now. I don't know if Baylor's going to get better. I mean, this weekend says a lot about them. So, I mean, a lot of these storylines that we're talking about right now is regarding Big 12 teams are kind of all jumbled up because this week is kind of going to be the statement week to where these teams are headed. So no one really still knows
Yeah.
anything about where the Big 12 is. And I think this even more solidified the fact that we have no idea what the fuck is going on in the Big 12.
Yeah, definitely. Texas Tech is a mid team in that conference, so I just don't think Texas came to play. I mean, even with Carr being the backup QB in the game, I don't think they were there. Embarrassing fumble from Robbins Bijan at the end. Um, and you said they had him on campus all week with the ball in his hand. That cracked me up there. So
Yeah, I mean,
he definitely,
students were walking by trying to knock it out. Teammates, when they saw him, were trying to knock it out, and he hasn't dropped it. From what I've heard on Twitter, I mean, people have said that's been his thing. Is he feels bad about it, as he should. And
yeah,
and I think that when you are supposed to be that Heisman candidate, and you're supposed to be that guy, these are the kind of plays where you're like, you can't have that happen, because it's not like a fumble in the second quarter. It's not like a fumble. This was the
a
possession you
game
had.
changer. Yeah,
Yeah. And that
yeah,
and
but like I was saying, Texas just did not wasn't there, didn't come to play, even though it was close. We are talking about a mid Texas Tech team. So I like the Red Raiders, though. I mean, they can show that they can get it done in Lubbock. So should be a good season for them. Hopefully, they do a little bit better than 500 and maybe sneak a couple of wins out there. But what does this mean for Texas? I don't know. They definitely need Ewers back. That's what I got. That's what I have to
Oh
say
yeah,
about that.
I think with Ewers at quarterback, from what we have seen from the season so far, which is not much, we saw a little bit against UL Monroe, and then against Alabama in that first quarter, you passed for 134 yards and should have had a touchdown if Xavier Worthy doesn't drop that deep ball early on in that one. And if he had gotten that one, I think we would say undoubtedly, like, he is probably the quarterback that Texas needed to try to get back on the map competitively. And now without him until maybe they play OU, I mean, this is one of those things where, if everything comes together the way it's supposed to, OU Texas will be viewers' return, which will be huge. People will tune in. People will see how that goes for him. And for OU, get the fuck out of him. I mean, Venables is gonna try to hurt him again. They want to tackle him as hard as they can and bring him down to the turf with force to try to re-aggravate that injury, because I think they know that they are much better off with Hudson Card standing back there at quarterback, as the kind of mid player that he is, than they are with
Oh yeah,
Ewers, who was one of the top recruits coming out of high school, even skipped his senior year to go enroll early at Ohio State. I mean, you don't just do that if you're mid. And so, I mean, it's just like one of those things where it's like, he proved that I think he's good enough to be a D1 quarterback and start at a team like Texas. And I think that with him, they are obviously better. And so,
oh definitely.
I think that this game kind of solidified that, is Hudson Card is not Quinn Ewers. That quarterback competition was never close. Quit lying to
Yeah,
us, Steve Sarkisian. Quit lying to our faces. Um, and I get it's a coach thing to lie about that shit, but it's like unnecessary. And props to Texas Tech, like you said, but this is just a bowl game team. This is not a team that's going to be playing in the Big 12 championship. But good for them. I always love seeing Texas lose. I'm never gonna apologize for that. Um, but it's devastating for, I think, the Big 12 as a whole, because it just kind of opens up, like I said, the whole entire realm of possibilities. Who is really the dominant team in this conference? But that was my takeaway from that game. Duke, Kansas, another great game. Kansas
we
gets it done, 35-27, 8-point win over the Dukies. Kansas was in control of this game firmly for most of it, and then late it just seemed like Duke kind of turned it on, and Kansas got a little conservative, and that kind of hurt them until the end. What were your takeaways from this game in Lawrence? I mean, 4-0, baby.
man, go Jayhawks. You know I had to say it. Definitely, like you were saying, the Jayhawks were getting it done early. They had the lead for majority of the game and got a little conservative there in the third, and ended up having to the Duke Blue Devils were crawling back in the fourth. So it was a good game. Kansas obviously ended up pulling out with the win with 4-0 now. So go Jayhawks.
Yeah, big win for them. And again, I think that that's, they might only win 5 or 6 games this season, but 4-0 is a good start for them. If they end up being better than what I'm saying right now, I don't think you can really hold anything against the new head coach in the way that he's got this team playing. I mean, Jalen Daniels, is
Definitely.
he for real? There's questions about that. I mean, you've taken care of West Virginia. You took care of Duke. Those are kind of your two big marquee wins if you're a Jayhawk fan. And I think that's better than a lot of teams at the bottom of the top 25 when it comes to their record and what they've got going on. We'll get into that later, but I think that that's definitely good enough to have some faith that this team is not completely dead in the water and the future is looking bright right now in Lawrence.
Definitely.
So Minnesota and Michigan State. Michigan State just gets obliterated by 27, 34-7. Hasn't been a good look for the preseason ranked 11th overall. Michigan State Spartans, they've definitely fallen off the map. They got Maryland this weekend, so they are not getting anything light if Maryland plays the way they did against Michigan. And it looks concerning for Michigan State. What are your thoughts on the Spartans and just kind of how they've deteriorated over the last few weeks?
And I'm not really sure what they're doing out there. I mean, with all these losses so far, and doesn't seem like they're clicking at all out there. They're not getting it done. They're not scoring. So I mean, this is definitely a different team than we saw last year. So they definitely were getting it done last year. So very surprising. They need a coaching staff needs to come together or something at least get this team rolling.
Yeah, something's got to change, and I think this weekend could be what they need. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Two more games to really talk about. Let's hit up Missouri and Auburn. That game, wild. Missouri loses that one to Auburn 17-14 in overtime, fumbling on the 1 yard line and giving Auburn the victory. What were your takeaway from just how bad the Tigers have been? They are terrible.
Wow, I mean, it all came down to that final kick at the end. Their kicker has a funny name. It's a bigger kicker. I don't know what they call him exactly. It's a funny nickname for him though. But he ends up pushing wide right a 25 to 30 yard field goal, sending it into overtime, and ended up coming down. They both scored first overtime, second overtime they end up kicking a field goal on Auburn's side, and which gave Missouri a chance to win it if they scored. Run it all the way down to the 1 yard line, fumbles on the 1 yard line. Bye bye Tigers. So it's just very unfortunate. I know the Tiger fans were definitely hurt about that loss. I mean, they had it in the bag twice, so the bag broke twice for the Tigers. So not really sure what this means for the rest of the season, but having those little minor mistakes is not never good this early on. So might be another crumble year for the Tigers out there.
Yeah, it could be a long season for Missouri fans, and for that I'm thankful because fuck Missouri. But I mean, yeah, it's just you can't have those kind of mistakes, and if you're wanting to grow at all as a team, and it's just been a terrible downslide for
Yeah.
Missouri these last couple years, and it's just been kind of embarrassing to watch. And that just kind of tacked on kind of the cake for that. And that's kind of, yeah, you're 100% right. Your takeaway is spot on. Texas A&M and Arkansas, that game also close. Arkansas kicker misses that as time expires to try to give them a 1 point win. Texas A&M comes out with a victory, 23-21. This game was all Arkansas for the whole entire 3 quarters, and then the fourth quarter, Texas A&M comes roaring back, takes the lead late. And as I said, Arkansas had a chance to win it, and down to the kicker, and sure enough, shanks the shit out of it. So I mean, it's just where is Arkansas right now in your eyes? Are they still competitive force to be reckoned with, or is this one of those where Texas A&M gets back on track? What are your takeaways from this game?
I mean, it was a close game, so I mean, we can't really take away from either team, and definitely coming under the kicker, it's tough. I mean, Arkansas they had played a good game, like you're saying earlier. They had that win pretty much. I mean, if they just had a couple more plays go their way, so I don't think Arkansas played a bad game. I think they are still a top team in that conference, so we should see how that shakes out. And I do think this gives Texas A&M a little boost as well. So definitely a win's a win, like you're saying earlier. So I mean, Texas Tech, even not Texas Tech, Texas A&M having that win definitely gives them a little boost for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I mean they needed it. I agree with that. But yeah, that was kind of week 4, like kind of in a nutshell. I mean, just a lot of good games, a lot of takeaways from those games, and it really sets up for a good week this week. And let's start off with the big one, Kentucky and Mississippi. Number 7 Wildcats versus number 14 ranked Ole Miss Rebels. Who do you see coming away with this one? I think Ole Miss is a little overranked, not by much, but maybe like 7 or 6 spots. Um,
Yeah,
Kentucky also kind of scares me. Mark Stoops doing a good job up there. That he's been doing a good job for the last like 5 years. They've been competitive in big games. I don't see them as like the third best team in the SEC, honestly. But I mean, like it's fun to watch Kentucky football when they're winning, and that's definitely
yeah.
what they're doing right now. Cracking the top 10, definitely on the doorstep here of jumping some teams if things go their way this weekend and putting themselves in good position. Where do you see this game shaking out, and like what do you think of these two teams?
I like the Wildcats here for this week. I do think it will be close with it being in Oxford. I mean, like Ole Miss definitely seems to keep it close with teams, but I definitely see I definitely see the Wildcats getting it done here close, maybe by a touchdown or a field goal. So I like the Wildcats. Ole Miss, not really sure on them yet. I mean, they haven't had a bad season. They've had a couple wins so far. So I like uh, I like the Wildcats here.
Yeah, I mean, in Ole Miss coming off that close win against Tulsa over the weekend, Tulsa really gave them a run for their money.
Yeah,
And that kind of is why I said I don't really know if 14 is the right spot for Ole Miss, but I don't hate it, and it's good for TV ratings. Obviously, people will tune in. They're going to think it's a nip and tuck game, and I think you're right. I think it will be close. I don't think either of these teams are really as good as their ranking is, but I think
yeah,
that Kentucky has a better chance of coming away and keeping their ranking than Ole Miss does of coming in and uh, upsetting them, which wouldn't be the case because it's in Oxford. But I mean, even if they do win, it's an upset, and I feel like maybe Ole Miss jumps to like 11 or 10 or something. I mean, if they do it, Kentucky they probably just like switch places almost. If Tennessee wins, I think they kind of move up to like 8 or 7. And there's just tons of stuff that could happen in this game. Kind of starts off the morning with major big game vibes. And moving on to another game that starts at the same time, OU and TCU. The Sooners fall to 18 after losing to Kansas State. We covered that earlier. They have a big game in Fort Worth on the road. Big test. Max Duggan coming off of injury to retake the starting position for the Horned Frogs. Chandler Morris, former third string OU quarterback, is going to go back to the bench. He's a little bit more mobile than Max Duggan, in my opinion, so I think that kind of helps the Sooners as far as not having to run a quarterback spy and leaving that middle of the field is open. Because against Max Duggan, you can't do that. He's got a better arm than Chandler Morris, and
yeah,
he can fit that ball in there, and he's beat big teams before in the Big 12. Just ask Oklahoma State. Ask teams that don't like to play this team in Fort Worth at all, and with the way that's kind of been with the way that TCU's kind of been playing. I mean, big win against SMU over the weekend. They looked good. 34-28 is a tight win against Tanner Mordecai, another former OU quarterback. So I mean, a lot of former OU
yeah,
quarterbacks, getting those starting opportunities, elsewhere. Due to the fact OU's just so stacked at that position normally, and when they have that guy, you're just less likely to get playing time unless that guy just obliterates his knee or something. I mean, you're just not going to get that chance. They usually just run a one quarterback system. They've never been a two quarterback system, really. I mean, you can say the Blake Bell, Trevor Knight thing was a two quarterback system, but I mean, Blake Bell was never really throwing the ball that much, so I don't really count that as a two
yeah,
quarterback system. But as far as TCU goes, this is a big game for them. I mean, they have a chance to really kind of project their season to a positive, further positive note than they already have. They put up huge numbers against Colorado, but Colorado is so fucking bad. It just doesn't really matter to me. But it just shows that the offense can put up numbers if the defense is playing that bad. I'm not saying OU's defense is anywhere as bad as Colorado's defense, because that is just another
yeah.
level of bad. But who knows where OU is at morale wise? Are they upbeat about this as a chance to retake this season and do what they normally do, which is just come out the next game and obliterate the team after a loss? Or is this a new team where these losses mean more and they can't get it off their mind and they can't push that into the recesses of their brain, and they're gonna have that in the forefront going, hey, what if we make the same mistakes? What if Dylan Gabriel's standing back there going, what if I miss Marvin Mims wide open again? Like, holy shit, what if I do that again? I mean, it's this is
Yeah.
a big game for OU. What are your takeaways for this game?
Man, with that embarrassing loss last week in Norman at the Gaylord, I see OU coming in and rolling right over the Horned Frogs here. So I'm not taking anything away from TCU. I think they're a good team, and I think they will win some games this year with him being at quarterback. But I don't see OU taking it lightly here. I see them coming out and just rolling. I got OU by 20 points at least. So
Woo! All right, I
yeah,
like it. I like the boldness. Um,
yeah,
and that could happen, and I wouldn't be surprised one bit. So I think that that's kind of one of those things where if it goes the other way, though, for some unexpected reason, I'll be more shocked. I kind of agree. I think that if you lose this game to TCU, I don't know, can you salvage this season, or are we looking at a 5-loss team here for the first time since like 2015 or something? I mean, it's just it's been a while since they've been mediocre, and I think 8-5 would be mediocre. But if you're losing to TCU, you might also lose to OSU. You might also lose to Texas, and that's 4 already. I mean, can we slip Kansas in there? They almost beat them last year. Let's not forget that. So I mean,
right,
I mean, and they've got a better quarterback now than they did last year. So I mean, like, what are we looking at here? Are we
yeah.
looking at a 5-loss team? This game really defines where OU goes for the rest of the season. And if people don't think that, then they're just ignorant, because I just don't see them morally recovering from a loss in Fort Worth this weekend. So I like your pick. 20 points. I mean, they need to do it. That's all I'm saying, is they need to take care of business, and they need to do that for their own sake. Moving on to a game that I think should be on TV but is on Big 12 Plus. It's Texas Tech and Kansas State. So the number 25 ranked Kansas State Wildcats, after beating OU and after Texas Tech beats Texas, they're going to play each other. It's in Manhattan. It's Texas Tech is going on the road. Um,
Little Apple.
yeah, so not a lot of people are going to be watching this game, but I feel like it should have gotten 11 o'clock slot somewhere. Um, I mean, as I said, no one's really going to be watching this game, but I think it's going to be a good game. Your thoughts?
I definitely see it being a good game. Two solid teams coming both off wins, so I like Kansas State here coming out with the victory, especially with it being in Manhattan. So their offense is just rolling, and I think they're going to continue to do so. So I like them with the win here. Texas Tech, I see them definitely scoring some points here and hanging in there for sure as well, though.
Yeah, I think this game could come down to overtime. I just these teams look so even to me, at
Yeah,
least on paper. And if Adrian Martinez plays like he does last week, I don't know if it matters, because I think that Texas Tech could have the same kind of game. They're just on a roll. Both these teams are on a roll, so I feel like you're right. I feel like this game is gonna be close. It's gonna be good, and I'm ashamed that it's on Big 12 Plus, because a lot of people won't get to watch it. Um, but I think it'll be one of those where, as I'm doing my score updates for the OU-TCU game this weekend, I'm gonna have to keep my eye on it. It's gonna be there. I'm gonna let you know how it's going, so don't miss out. If you can't watch the game, I'll have you updated, every couple minutes. Those media timeouts take forever, so I have plenty of time to go through the 11 o'clock games, and we'll get those scores to you for my live score updates during that broadcast. So we'll make sure to keep you guys in the loop for that, since a lot of people won't get to watch it. Moving on to the 2:30 slate, dude. The 2:30 slate is stacked, brother. So Alabama plays Arkansas, and this is it. I mean, number 2 Alabama, number 20 Arkansas. They fall after they lose to Texas A&M. They fall 10 spots. It's a rough fall for them, but I think it's deserved. I mean, Texas A&M lost to Appalachian State. I don't think Arkansas would have lost to Appalachian State, but if you lose to the team that lost to Appalachian State, you're probably not playing very well. And the fact they lost that game and had a chance to win it on a game-winning field goal kind of makes me mad that they dropped that far. But I can see why, and it's justified in my mind. I know you don't probably feel the same way about it, but does Arkansas have a chance? Please tell me.
we got the game in Tuscaloosa. Where are we
No,
playing
it's
at?
in Fayetteville, brother. So I mean,
Okay, we're in Fayetteville. I still have Alabama rolling here for sure.
ooh, okay.
I do see Arkansas scoring points here, but I do have Arkansas. I do have Arkansas losing here, but I do have Alabama winning by at
Yeah,
least
like
10 plus.
yeah, so that's roll. I mean, that's rolling for them, I guess. I mean, two touchdowns seems rolling to me. So you don't say
Yeah,
rolling, but you think that it'll be like a two possession win though.
yeah, definitely.
Okay.
I see Arkansas scoring points, but I don't see them standing close to the Crimson Tide. So I got Alabama getting
Well,
done here.
I mean, look, I can't disagree um, with this opinion at all because everything tells me to just not even give Arkansas a chance. But it's been as it's in Fayetteville, and it can get squirrely down there. It can get a little squirrely. And the way
Who we
Texas,
think?
yeah, and that Arkansas is going to watch that Texas film, and they're going to watch, I don't know if they're going to watch much film from the week after that, but they're definitely going to take a look at that Texas film and see what worked for Texas, and if their quarterback can get that done because he's a good quarterback. He's not bad at all. Um, so I think that when you look at the way Arkansas has skill position talent on offense, it's going to be more up to that Razorback defense whether or not they can stop Alabama's offense. And to your point, I don't know if they can, and it'll be a good test for them. But I think Fayetteville will be rowdy. Those fans will be ready, and they'll be drunk as fuck. So I mean, they're going to be lit up. So I think that 2:30 Central Time, 3:30 Eastern. Keep your eye on that game because I think it could be close for the most part. But I think Alabama in the end, like you said, pulls away, and the Crimson Tide get it done. Another 2:30 game to talk about: Oklahoma State, Baylor.
I love it. I love
Pokes
it.
are on the road. Games down in Waco. Dave Aranda won the last matchup to win the Big 12 title. Um, OSU's kind of going down there looking for revenge, and I don't blame them. They're number 9 in the country. They've been playing okay. There are no complaints from me so far, except for playing your whole entire second offense and defense against Central Michigan and almost losing that game. But at least your starters weren't on the field and you weren't giving away those points with your starters out there, which I didn't really know they had the whole entire second unit for offense and defense out there when I was watching this game. But it makes more sense that they gave up, that many points in the fourth quarter for Michigan State to only lose by 16, when they were down by
Yeah.
like 30 plus. So, and OSU took care of business, against Arkansas Pine Bluff and just blew the doors off of them. And coming off a bye week, OSU's got to win this game because if they don't and it's sloppy and there's a lot of penalties, then people are going to wonder what they did to prepare over those last 2 weeks because you just can't make mistakes like that against Dave Aranda's defense. If you're talking about like false starts and stuff like OU had very undisciplined against Kansas State, you can't have that same performance, from OSU if they're going to win against this Baylor team. I have OSU winning this game. But it could come down to the last possession. I just don't know if I trust Spencer Sanders yet. I know he's occupying that 5th spot right now in your Heisman watch. That's the next segment we're getting into here in a second to see if anything has changed. I'm sure it has. But I like the Pokes. What are your thoughts on this game in Waco?
Man, I'm going a little bit little opposite from you. I got the Bears here.
Ooh,
I definitely see it coming down to a last possession type game, just like how it ended last year. Two great head coaches with Mike Gundy, and Baylor's head coach. What's his name again?
Dave Aranda.
Dave Aranda. Two great head coaches. Two great football minds there. I got it coming down to the last second. I got Baylor winning by a touchdown. Um, Wow. I'm excited for this game this week. OSU's been rolling on offense. Baylor's been getting it done as well. Defenses are both hanging in there as well. So I think it comes down last possession. I got the Baylor Bears here in Waco by 7.
Ooh, I like it. I can't hate on it. I mean, home field advantage is a thing, and you are playing to that tune accordingly. Another 2:30 game. This one is going to be a good one. Wake Forest and Florida State. Both of these teams are ranked. Florida State 23. Wake Forest drops to 22 after their loss to Clemson.
I like this one.
This game is going to be in Tallahassee. So, yeah,
Okay.
it's gonna be in Seminole Nation down there with the chop and all that. So home field advantage looking like it for Florida State. Who do you think comes away with this victory and why?
Coming off with that close loss to Clemson last week, I like Wake Forest here.
Oh,
They're getting it done on offense, and I'm not really sure if the Seminoles will be able to hold up. I definitely see it being close. I see it being high scoring, but I like Wake Forest here with just specifically because they can put up the numbers on offense. So that's what I'm going with.
yeah, they run a very peculiar style of option offense where the quarterback holds the ball into the belly of the halfback for like 2 or 3 seconds before deciding whether to pull it out or hand it off. It really makes your defensive backs have to think whether or not they need to crash towards the defensive line or keep covering their guy. And that was kind of how they fooled Clemson a couple times. And I agree. I'm taking Wake Forest in this one. I think they're going to be looking good after that loss because they can put up those numbers. And Sam Hartman's for real. I'm not afraid to
Oh
say
yeah,
that.
he's definitely for real.
And I think they get the job done by double digits. I like
Oh
Florida
wow.
State. I like Florida State, but I just don't think they're there yet. Sure, you beat LSU, but that doesn't mean anything to me. You haven't really beat anybody else. You had some close games with teams you probably shouldn't have been close with. So I'm taking the Demon Deacons as well, but I'm taking them by double digits for sure. If I'm looking at this game
Confident. My guy's very confident.
right from the outside looking in. Let's touch on this game. Michigan State is playing Maryland in Maryland, at Turpinville, as I like to call it. And look, Maryland's a 7 point favorite here. I don't know if I have a problem with that. I just don't know. I think Michigan State is in a prime position here to probably get a win, even if they did lose by a gazillion points to Minnesota. What are your thoughts on this one?
I do like that. They do have Michigan State winning. I actually will go with Maryland here. I think they're just a better team
Yeah.
this season, but I can see why they have them winning. They've had a bunch of losses so far, so they have nothing to lose. But Maryland and Tua's little brother, what's his name exactly?
Talia Tagovailoa.
Talia is definitely shown he's definitely the guy there. So I mean, I think he can get it done versus Spartan. So I like Maryland here.
Yeah, Talia Tagovailoa playing good football. I don't blame you for picking Maryland, especially after Minnesota just trounced Michigan State. I just don't know. I just think this is a good game for Michigan State to try to get back on track, and that's why I'm picking them to win this game. I don't know if I'm crazy, but it could happen. Maryland's known to drop a couple that they shouldn't, and I think this could be one, even if they are the home team. Another game that's interesting: Texas A&M jumps 6 spots to 17. They're going to play at Mississippi State, and guess what? They are the underdogs here. Mississippi State is favored by 3 points going into this one. I don't know if Vegas is trying to give away money, but I'm taking Texas A&M by like 20, bro. Like I Mississippi State beat LSU over the weekend or lost to LSU over the weekend. I don't know if you can accept that. I can't. I don't know what Vegas is doing, but this line has only moved half a point from Monday. I don't know. I don't see it flipping. What are your thoughts on Texas A&M being underdogs on the road to Starkville?
I don't like that.
Yeah, I don't like it either.
Yeah,
What are you trying? You
I
did.
don't like that. I'm not sure what Vegas is doing,
I,
but
what do they
I
know that we don't
definitely,
know
I
here?
definitely don't have them.
Oh, I can't hear you, bud.
I see them rolling by at least 10 on here.
Oh, okay. Rolling by 10. Okay. You were
Yeah,
kind of cutting out there for a minute. Well, we got you back. A little spotty out there in wherever the fuck you're
from the
at.
stick,
um,
coming live from the sticks.
son of a bitch. Um, all right. So a couple games to kind of go over the last couple that kind of intrigue me. I got three more to I got three more to go over. The first one to go over is number 5 Clemson playing number 10 NC State. That one's at 6:30.
Ooh,
Clemson is the home team.
okay.
I've got Clemson winning this game. I think that they should be favored in this game. I haven't looked at the spread, but I like Clemson in this. I think NC State is a fraud. We talked about this early on in like
Yeah.
episode 1 or 2 about how NC State being top 15 for most of the year, haven't lost. They're number 10 now. They're sitting there looking pretty. Clemson still right there at number 5 after barely beating Wake Forest on the road. They don't move at all, I don't think. As far as from this week to last week, we'll get into that here after we go over our picks over the weekend that didn't do so well. We'll touch on that in a second. But I just think Clemson probably rolls in this one. What are your thoughts?
I definitely don't like this pick, but I am going to go with Clemson here. As much as I don't like it, just that close win to Wake Forest, which Wake Forest is no slouch, but I think we are correct about NC State being a fraud here. I don't think they're the team that they're ranked. I don't see them scoring as many points as we think they should this week against Clemson. So I definitely got Clemson by at least 10 plus here.
I was gonna touch on Georgia and Missouri, but I don't think I'm going to. I just think Georgia wins by 50. We'll just skip over that one.
Yes,
Um,
correct.
but the one I did want to talk about was West Virginia traveling on the road down to Austin to play Texas.
Okay.
It looks like an interesting matchup. West Virginia, not a terrible team, right? They took care of Virginia Tech
Yeah.
over the weekend, and beat them 33-10 or something. I mean, just rolled away. But Virginia Tech is so fucking bad, man. I mean, you lose to Old Dominion this year again. Like, just Virginia Tech is in
Jeez.
shambles. They're in shambles. So I don't really know if I like that. I mean, West Virginia lost to Kansas, but I don't know if that's bad or good. I mean, we don't really know yet, unfortunately. Um,
Yeah.
but I like their chances against a Texas team coming off a loss down in Lubbock. I like West Virginia in this one. I don't know why, but it's a country roads. Fuck it. I don't know.
Take me home.
I mean, what are your
No, I
thoughts?
mean I got Texas winning
Ah,
here.
get out of here.
I got Texas winning here. Uh, West Virginia. I mean, we'll see, but I got Texas taking care of business here this Saturday.
All right. I mean, I don't know. I don't hate you for that pick. It'll be a bit. It'll be a big like where is Texas moment. Like we'll find out really where they're at with Hudson
Yeah.
Card. Um, Last game I want to talk about Stanford on the road to Eugene to play Oregon. Oregon's a 17-point favorite, but we know how this game goes. It's always close. We always play them like we have never seen them before. Like I just don't know what we do when we play the Cardinal. I think we win this game, but I don't know if we cover. What are your thoughts on this?
What's the spread? What are we looking like on
17.
that?
Oregon is favored by 17.
Yeah, it's a away game, right?
It's no, it's a home game for the Ducks.
Home game for the Ducks. Okay, I like the Ducks here. Not just because home field advantage, but I do see Stanford playing them close. But also Stanford just isn't that team that we are used to seeing. But I do like. I'll go with your Ducks here.
Yeah, I mean, and that kind of wraps up the big games this weekend. There are a couple other ones that are kind of notables. USC plays Arizona State. I think they take care of business there. Arizona State without their head coach. I don't really like it. Tulsa plays Cincinnati. Tulsa hung in there with Ole Miss. Don't know how good Cincinnati is. We'll kind of figure that out as the season goes along as well. As far as other games go, really nothing to really report. Penn State plays Northwestern. That's probably not going to be fun to watch for anybody. Um, I mean, Illinois, Wisconsin, that game may be close. That's an 11 o'clock kick, but nobody really cares who wins that game because neither of those teams are ranked and they're in shambles. I mean, Wisconsin just got blown out by Ohio State easily. It wasn't even close. But that's kind of your week 5 in a nutshell. So let's move on. Everybody's favorite segment, St0ner Sportsbook recap over the week.
Put some money this week.
Yeah, you're still winning money. It's just not great. So here's how it went. If you were to parlay our picks last week, you didn't hit either of our parlays. If you were to bet individually, with Cole, you lost money. With me, you still lost money, but you didn't lose as much money. You lost $75 over the weekend if you were betting with mine, and you lost $100 if you were betting with Cole. The only games we hit were the Kansas game. I hit on Wake Forest. He did not. None of these games really panned out. Michigan did not take care of Maryland the way we thought they would. They were 17.5-point favorites. That didn't happen. USC, I picked them to cover against Oregon State. I don't know why the fuck I did that, but we both did it, and we both ate shit on that one. OU, we were wrong as fuck on that as well. 13-point favorites. That one crapped out. Tennessee, you picked Tennessee to win by 10. They only won by 8, so you were close, but not close enough. Needed them to tack on a field goal to get that one to go. I also picked Florida to win that. Well, Florida did cover. So why I actually fucked myself because Florida did cover it. They did lose by less than 10. So I actually did. Wow. Okay, I only lost $55, and that gives me 230 going into this week. You lost 100, but you got 100 back because that's how we do it. So you're still at 280. So you're kind of breaking even. But I am actually, wow. In that case, I'm beating you in picks by one game, I think. So you're 9-8, and I am 10-7. Wow, I did that wrong. Well, hey, that's good for me. That's good for me. Hey,
Close.
three out of 6. That ain't terrible. It ain't gonna be great, but it's not terrible. But that's how it went over the weekend. So, let's go ahead. You got $280. What games are we looking at this week? As we wrap up episode number 5. We're looking at what games you want to do? We've got you've got Kentucky and Ole Miss if you want to do that one. We've got the OU game if you want to do that one. You've got Oregon State playing Utah, which I didn't really talk about, but Utah's number 12, Oregon State now falling out of the rankings. So however you want to kind of look at that one. You've got
you have to throw the LSU game in there.
The OSU game or the LSU game?
OSU.
Okay, OSU, the Oklahoma State game, and then Iowa State plays Kansas. If you want to go, down to Lawrence, we can do that. You've got NC State and Clemson. You've got Oregon, Stanford. So wherever you want to go with the first game, let me know.
Let's start off. We'll do Oklahoma State, Baylor.
Okay, we'll do Oak State, Baylor. Actually got those odds.
Spread on that one.
I've got the odds right in me. Where did I set it though? At it. Go. Where are you? Odds. I literally had it right. Oh, might still be attached to my clipboard. Let's see it. Anyways, I believe this game is actually pretty close. I have the odds pulled up here in another screen. Let me pull it up for us. Okay. So OSU right now, according to DraftKings Sportsbook, which is where we're getting all these odds, right now you are looking at Baylor -2 right now. So, where are you thinking here?
Baylor -2 to win it, or
yeah, to win it. Yeah, Baylor by 2.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see an OT, and then yeah, I like the cover on that.
Okay, so Baylor -2. How much money are you gonna put out of your 280?
Let's put 30.
30. Okay, 30 big ones on Baylor by 2.
Everything in me wants to say, let's do. I think Baylor is gonna win by like 7 or so. So it'd be Baylor -7.
No, you just need them to win by 2 to win your money.
Okay.
You need them to win by a field goal or more to win.
Okay, then yeah, I like that. Then yeah, for sure.
So I'm gonna pick the opposite. I'm gonna pick Oklahoma State +2 here, and I'm gonna put 30 as well on that one.
I like it.
So second game, I'll go ahead and you want to do Kentucky and Mississippi. That game is Kentucky and Mississippi are looking at Ole Miss -7. So
I like Kentucky +7.
Kentucky +7, yeah.
Yeah, it'd be Kentucky winning by.
Yep.
Yeah.
Got Kentucky. How much money are we putting on that? You got 250 to work with.
We'll put a 50 on it.
I put 50 on that. All right, I like that. All right. Yeah, I'm also gonna put 50 on this because I feel pretty confident about this. I'm gonna go Kentucky. Yeah, Kentucky +7. Kentucky +7. All right. Third game.
Florida State.
Yeah, there you go. Wake Forest and Florida State is the third game we're gonna look at, and this one Eve is Florida State winning by 7 is the line here.
Oh no, I like Wake Forest here.
Wake Forest plus 7. I am also. How much money are you putting on that one? Got 200 to play with. You got 4 picks
50.
left. 50. Okay, 50 on Wake. 50 left. I'm gonna put $25 on Wake. Well, 7. All right. So fourth game.
Alabama, Arkansas.
Ooh, okay, and it is Alabama minus 17.5.
I like that. I'll take it and I'll put 100.
Ooh, on Bama.
Yeah.
Dollars minus 17.5. Arkansas. You know what? Man. Um, I'm gonna put 50, and I'm gonna pick Arkansas plus 17.5. I think they keep it within 2 scores. I think they lose by 14 or maybe 17. If they lose by 17, I still get my money. You have to have them beaten by 18 or more to win your money. So I'll take Arkansas plus the 17.5. Fifth game. Uh, where we
I
where
was
we
thinking either Oregon, Stanford. Oh, that NC State Clemson's ranked though.
Yeah, you want to do that one?
Yeah, just because it's I like when both the teams are ranked.
Okay. The NC State versus Clemson is another one that's big one. That one, as of right now, has Clemson minus 6.5.
Yeah, I like it.
How much you putting on that?
50.
50. Okay. 50 on that. Half. I think that's good. 5. I'm gonna put 50 as well on Clemson minus the 6.5. I agree. So last game. I guess last game we can do here.
Oklahoma.
You want to do the OU game, the Kansas game, or Texas or Oregon? Those are the 4 I'm looking at right now.
I say we go with the OU game.
Okay, so OU, I believe they are.
I'm real confident in the Sooners.
All right, so I have
I,
OU.
I'd like to put the rest of my money on the Sooners for the spread.
Okay, rest of the money. Sooners. Okay, Sooners are 6.5 point favorites.
Oh yeah.
All right, so you're rest. Oh, you don't have left. Um, yeah, you have no money, so you have to change something around here. How
Oh,
much
okay.
do you
Let
want
me
to put?
take.
You want
Can
to
I
put?
take 25 off of both my 50 games and then put 50 on the OU and then take because I bet 50 on I think Clemson.
Yeah, so change that to 25 and
Yeah, and then
Wake
take
Forest to 25.
yeah.
All right. What have I got left? I got 150, 175, 35. I got 25, I think, left. So I'm gonna also pick OU minus the 6.5. That is your picks for the St0ner Sportsbook for week 5. So just a little bit more stuff to get into here before we get out of here. We got a couple minutes left. So let's go over Heisman watch list. So your Heisman watch list after week 4 um, was Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, Caleb Williams, Dylan Gabriel, Spencer Sanders. What changes are we making?
We're definitely making some changes for sure, especially with that loss to K State. That definitely takes um Gabriel out for me. Um, I still like Bryce Young 1, CJ Stroud 2. Um, I have Caleb Williams 3.
Mm-hmm.
I like I would like to take um I would like to take Gabriel out and put Henderson in for Ohio State running back.
Okay.
I think he's putting up the numbers this season.
And keep Spencer Sanders at 5.
Yeah.
Okay. For mine, I've got C.J. Stroud still at my 1 spot. I'm still gonna have Bryce Young at my 2 spot. I'm gonna put Kayla. I'm gonna put man at 3rd spot. Um, uh, oof. I'm gonna put Sam Hartman as my 3rd spot. I'm gonna put the quarterback out of Wake Forest. I think he's putting up the numbers this year. He could definitely be invited. 4th spot, I'm gonna put Caleb Williams. Then my 5th spot, I'm gonna have Spencer Sanders. Jackson Smith Ninjigba dropping out of my top 5, and Dylan Gabriel dropping out from 3 to nowhere to be found. So those are my 5. So definitely changes there for us. So let's kind of go over the top 25 real quick. We had a little bit of changing here and there. Right now, your top 10 teams in the country are Georgia at number 1, Alabama at number 2, Ohio State at number 3, Michigan at number 4, Clemson 5, USC 6, Kentucky 7, Tennessee 8, Oklahoma State 9, and NC State as 10. What are your thoughts on Tennessee jumping Oklahoma State?
I think they just did that because they had that ranked win. So with it being Florida, so I guess we'll see. I mean, if OSU gets it done this week, they should end up moving back up. So we should see. But I like semi like the 10 right now.
Yeah, I don't really have anything to really know other than I think that Penn State could probably beat NC State. Penn State's number 11. I think
Yeah,
they
I
could
would
probably
say
beat
so.
NC State.
We'll
I,
see.
I
It'll move after this week.
I think Oklahoma State and Tennessee are pretty even. I would still have Oklahoma State ahead of them. Um,
Yeah.
but I don't hate it. Um, Oregon moved up 2 spots from 15 to 13. Utah moved up a spot from 13 to 12. Baylor moved up from 17 to 16. Washington is climbing slowly. They move up 3 spots. They're at number 15 now. Of course, OU dropping down to 18. OU, I think, is better than Texas A&M. I think OU is probably better than Washington. OU is probably better than Ole Miss. But I understand the big drop. Your thoughts on the Sooners?
Definitely a big drop for sure. I mean, as expected, I didn't know where they were going to end up. I thought somewhere maybe in the 20th just because Kansas State was unranked, but they end up getting 18 and moving Kansas State up to 25. So I like that. I think the Sooners can crawl back. I mean, it just has to be a flawless season from here on out. So we should see. We shall see.
So Kansas is number 26 right now in the country. They are literally 1 spot out of the top 25. Kansas State's ahead of them. Pitt is ahead of them. Both those teams have a loss. Wake Forest is ahead of them. Minnesota's ahead. They're undefeated. Florida State is ahead. They were unranked and now they're ranked. Um, you know, is Kansas better than any of those teams right now? I don't think so. But
Yeah.
I think this week could really kind of push them up the rankings because I think some of these teams at the bottom lose. Like we picked Florida State to lose, um, to Wake Forest this weekend. That'll probably drop them out and give Kansas an opportunity if they beat Iowa State to get in the top 25. Um, Florida dropped out of the rankings. Texas dropped out of the rankings, and Miami. All three of those teams dropped out of the rankings. Miami got beat by Middle Tennessee. They deserve to like never be back in the rankings the rest of the season in my book. But I didn't think they were that good to begin with. That was also a team that was in the top 15 preseason. So, not to hate on my former head coach Mario Cristobal, but fuck, that was bad. So don't really have any problems with any of those teams dropping out, considering they were all in the low 20s and lost. So I don't have a problem with any of that. And I think for overall, right now, teams are kind of where they're supposed to be. I don't really have anybody other than maybe NC State and Tennessee being fraudulent. Clemson's still kind of fraudulent to me, but they haven't done anything to warrant moving them anywhere. I just don't know. I mean, Clemson not moving anywhere, I think, is the right choice. Michigan not moving anywhere, right choice. Same with the top three. They all won. Whether or not it was close or not, they got the job done. USC moving up a spot after only beating Oregon State by 3. I don't know about that. But is Kentucky better? I don't think so. Is Tennessee better than USC? Probably not. But as I said, we just don't know anything right now. I think that this week is kind of a big week for all those teams. And if not this week, next week we'll definitely unravel a lot more of where these teams really are at. But if you were to rank these teams right here, and this was your preseason ranking, the big surprises to me would be Tennessee and Kentucky. If this was like the preseason AP, having them in the top 10 along with Alabama and Georgia, I mean, that's a lot of teams from the SEC in the top 10. And you only have one Big 12 team in there. You've got 2 Big 10 teams and and 2 ACC teams in there. So at this point, you would think Oklahoma State's, in probably one of the worst conferences in the country and not the second best, which I think is still the case for them. What are your takeaways from that?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it'll shake out kind of as the season progresses, but I like what you're saying with the NC State. I mean, they'll move back for sure. I definitely see Kansas moving in and getting that win this week. So, I kind of like where it's at right now. Of course, Clemson, they're barely hanging on, and USC also needs to beat a few more teams for me to see like where they're at. But I mean, it'll come down to the end of the year with it being Georgia, Alabama, of course, and whoever else can squeeze in there. So, and of course they'll put because they'll play in the SEC championship. So of course whoever loses they'll put it 4, so they don't have to, or 3, so they don't have to play each other first, so they could have a chance of seeing each other again in that national championship game, which they love to do. So I like where it stands right now. I would move a few things around, but of course I'm not in that committee, which I should be. You should be as well. So
Yeah.
yeah.
All right. So last segment, we did locks of the week 2 episodes ago. We didn't really follow up on it because we're terrible. But we're gonna do locks of the week again. Remember, you can choose NFL games, you can choose NCAA games. So the last time we did it, you went 1 and 2. You did get your pick of well.
Wait, did I not go 3-0? I had.
Oh no, you had. No, I'm looking at mine. I went 1 and 2. I
had OU, Texas, and then the Rams beating the Falcons.
Yes, that was what we had. So I went 1 and 2. You went. Did they win by 11? I can't remember. I can look it up. The Rams in Atlanta, was that an 11 point?
No, it was closer. I don't think they won by 11.
That's what you needed to have happen because you picked the Rams minus 10.5. So you might have gone 2 and 1. Let me look real quick.
Yep, they only won by 4. So
okay, yeah. So that was all right. So you're 2 and 1. I am 1 and 2. So let's move on to these 3 games of the week. These are your locks. So you're making money if you're with Cole. You're not making money if you're with me on locks of the week. So what three games do you want to do this week? Are you gonna? Because you can obviously use the games that you've already chosen for $100 bets. You can choose any of those if you want to pick those. I know I'm picking. I think I'm going to use my my Wake Forest pick for one. That's for sure. And then I'm probably going to use um, Clemson as well as my other one. And then I'll go to the NFL probably for my last one. Um,
Yeah, I was gonna go two college, one NFL. I
okay,
like my OU pick. I like my Bama pick,
okay.
and I like the.
Oh, I've got them. I got them in front of me. If you look, I've got all of them pulled up, and these are the spreads on ESPN for the NFL games. We're gonna keep the
Let me know the
spreads.
Chiefs and the Bucks because I got the Chiefs taking care of business.
That not already. Who did the Bucks play over the? Oh, they played the Packers. They lost to the Packers. Yeah, that was bad. All right, so you're picking Chiefs. What is the Chiefs minus what? Minus. Oh, look, I
Uh,
have it right in front of me. Chiefs minus. Oh, it's even. It's a pick'em. Oh, it's a pick'em. All right, so you're just picking the Chiefs straight up. All right. There is no spread. It's even. Um, yeah, that's a pick'em. I like that pick. I think it's a safe pick. I'm gonna go. Hmm, man, this is it's tough here. Hmm, I could even go Monday night, but oh, you know what? I'm gonna pick the Rams. I'm gonna go Rams this week as well. I'm gonna do
oh,
the
the
Rams
49ers.
plus 1.5 against the 49ers. I like them to beat the
Okay.
so that's it. That's our locks of the week. I'm 1-2. You're 2-1. We'll see how we do with those, but those are individual locks. Obviously, our $100 bets are supposed to be in like parlay form, so that's kind of the difference between the $100 bets and our locks. Our locks are individual locks, and that's what it goes off of. And as far as like our $100 bets, we do keep track of the record, but really, it's if we hit all of them or nothing. It's kind of you're supposed to parlay all these and just kind of hit or miss. And we haven't hit any of our parlays this season, but hey, this could be the week. So you never know. And I think this was a good episode. I think we covered a lot, and I think these games this week are gonna be good. Any closing thoughts from you, sir?
Definitely a good week. A lot of ranked matchups. I'm excited for this week. Definitely my favorite one probably being that OSU Baylor. I'm definitely going to be tuning in to that. Go Bears.
Yeah,
But
I agree.
yeah,
I
but
I, I think that
even if
game will be
the Bucks
close.
win, I'd like to see that. It'll really be a test for Spencer Sanders for sure, and it will definitely move him a spot up in my Heisman if he can take care of the Bears this week.
Ooh, I like that. As for me, I think the game to watch is that Kentucky game. I think Kentucky Ole Miss. I think that game is going to be one to watch. Keep your eye on that one. And I think another good one to watch is probably that, as you said, that Baylor Oklahoma State game is looking very entertaining. So I think those are kind of, as you said, the games to watch this weekend. And we'll catch you guys next week for Will Warner and Cole Murphy. We will see you on the next one, and keep your stick on the ice.